What is going on, guys? It's Taylor the Pig here with the Fall Damage, and we're back with another Fall Damage podcast. This time it's the March edition. We are here with three other guys. We were trying to get four other guys, but no, instead we just have a total of four people today. Uh, we have a new member joining the podcast group, Dagan.
Hey.
We have a returning Dragon.
Hello.
And a returning Carl, or Koyasata.
Hello.
We have a good amount of topics to talk about. Basically, four topics, so that'll basically last us through the
End of the millennial.
Yeah. Basically, we are going to start off with something that hits towards a lot of the people in the Northeast. That's the weather. Yeah. This weather's not looking good, especially Indiana.
What's the weather look like in Indiana?
It's terrible.
It's terrible.
It was sunny and snowing at the same time.
Yeah, we've been trying to get rid of snow for about 2 months now, and still see snow on the ground.
For those of us who aren't familiar with the weather in Indiana, is it like snow drifts, like you've gotten a lot of accumulation, or is it like a steady, it snows and then it starts melting and it snows again?
It snows.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, it snows, starts melting, and then another 10 inches dumps, and then it just starts melting, and then we get like a batch of 50s weathers for about 2-3 hours maybe, and then it piles on more snow. It's stupid.
It's like a
And
teenager.
this is an atypical weather pattern for your part of the country?
I mean, part of this weather is typical, but this is just not.
So
Go ahead.
I was going to just say let's go back. So starting around Halloween.
Yes.
What was your weather like? Was it colder and wetter? Was it than normal? Was it warmer? What was that like?
It was warm, but it was like it would rain from time to time.
Yeah, it was like
Okay.
it was like that. It was basically what you would find in normal fall weather. There would be times where it was cold, in the 40s or 30s, and then there'd be days where it's 50s and 60s and cloudy and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when did it start going? When did the weather start going sideways on you guys?
I think January. Because November and December were basically those typical months where we were supposed to get a lot of snow, but we barely got any snow, if any. As soon as the snow hits the ground, it was gone the next few hours, if not days. Then January came around. There was a few days of January at the start where it was nice and peaceful, and then we had a batch that was few inches, and then it stuck to the ground, and then it got warmer. And then we thought it was done, and then we just got done with another batch of snow that's now barely melted.
So it's actually gotten colder the later in the year it's gotten.
Yeah.
Since January you've actually seemed to have gotten colder.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. November to January, it was 30s, 40s, a few days in the 20s, maybe a day in the teens, if not lower than that. And then January rolls around, and it's every other day is in the negatives.
So it sounds like a late winter this year.
It was a really late winter, and probably it's not even done yet. I don't know.
We've had a late winter the past couple years, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there was one a few years ago, but other than that, most of the time, especially last year, there was no such thing as snow at this point, like snow was out of the forecast. Snow was like it was all done. Every like fishing boats were on the lakes. Trampolines were up. Swimming pools were starting to become filled again. It was like 50s and 60s at this time. Now it's like in the 30s, if not 40s.
That's really weird because it seems like if you're east of the Mississippi, that you're getting snowed upon. But if you're west of the Mississippi, like I am, we're having the opposite. We're in opposite land.
Yeah.
So we would still normally have a snowpack on the ground even at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And there is some snow on the ground, but it's from, you know, a single snow that we had about 5 days or so ago,
Yeah.
and it's even going away. And we've had generally in Minnesota the common wisdom is that when any snows that hit prior to or after any snows that hit after Thanksgiving will be around until the beginning of April. And this year everything just kept melting. We had rain in January, I believe.
Yeah, for us it's always it's a few batches of snow, and then it melts, and then it rains, and then it snows again, and then it melts away. The ground starts drying up. Everything starts to become, as it is, like really good weather, and then it starts raining again, snowing again, and it's just like a cycle that goes on.
We had tornadoes a couple weeks ago, which was terrible.
Yeah, there was one.
And then snow after that.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a vicious storm like a few weeks ago. I think there was a tornado that was about an hour west of me. So sirens were going off and all that, and then just like maybe 2-3 days later it started snowing again.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, that's the closest I've ever been to a tornado, is an hour west of me.
Wow.
Really, you haven't been in tornadoes?
Nope, I haven't encountered a tornado just yet, and if this weather continues like this, I don't think this year will be one either.
Yeah.
Well, aren't tornadoes caused by like the confrontation of like two weather, like a warm weather pattern and a cold weather pattern clashing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So you could actually see that it's probably more likely this year.
Yeah, probably.
If it continues, because pretty soon the one way or another the warm is gonna start coming up.
Oh yeah.
And it's gonna really clash with the cold. So
next week is expecting to be one of our warmest weeks of March. It's supposed to be like in the 50s for most of the week, and to me, like having any sort of weather in the 50s and above, that's perfect weather for me to go with shorts. Because
wow.
The 40s is good for me. What are you talking about?
It really being in 20-degree weather and 30-degree weather for like several weeks. I want the 50s, and thank God they're coming back next week.
You think, weather can change, especially for long-range forecasts.
Especially.
They can say that now, and then in 2 days they say, "Oh, it's going to be a blizzard again."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I'm wishing you a blizzard in a week, but
I'm just thinking that there's going to be the blizzard of '78. It's going to happen all over again.
Oh my God, that'd be terrible. But we wouldn't have school, so I mean, it wouldn't be that bad.
I lived in the blizzard of 70. Well, it was 79 for us. I was actually a paperboy during that time, and by gosh, all but one street of my paper route got delivered that time.
Wow.
Yeah, it was an all day, like literally all day adventure for me. I started at 6 a.m. and I think I finally was just like, I can't go any further at 6 p.m.
Wow.
because you're
Next
trudging through.
podcast about it.
Yeah,
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trudging through 2 feet of snow, and it's like,
Uh, that's not
See,
good.
2 feet of snow here in the Northwest. People are like, I mean, not even 2 feet, like 6 inches of snow, and like, oh, school's canceled. Everybody stay home.
Yeah.
Don't go to work. You know.
But for us, we could get 2 feet of snow and we'd still have to go to school.
Yeah.
We could get 8
well, this
feet
was
of
in
snow.
this was in Missouri. This was in southeast Missouri, where this happened, where I live.
Yeah.
So that was the apocalypse. That was it. I mean, nothing happened. Nothing happened for 3 days.
Yeah.
The weather here in the Northwest has been fairly typical, which for spring means erratic. It can be sunny one moment and raining the next with snow flurries in an hour.
Mm.
And our overall weather patterns have been fairly mild. Some years, I know about 5 years ago, I think it was, we had a big snowstorm in January because it was on my birthday. And it dumped probably feet of snow in some places. And everything shut down. But this year we've gotten like a few bits of snow. Maybe the most we've gotten is in where I live, maybe 4 inches of snow.
Uh-huh.
And in Seattle, especially downtown or in the surrounding areas, some places are higher elevations, get more snow. But basically everything like shuts down. I went to work one day and there was nobody there because they're like nobody else could get there because the weather. I mean, maybe it was 6 inches, but still, it's not like a large amount of snow.
Uh-huh.
I walked to the bus stop, got on a bus, and got to work, and like nobody else could make it. So, but it's not like abnormally large amounts of snow for us because I've seen more snow in the past, but it also hasn't been our warmest year.
Huh.
This is kind of about normal.
Interesting.
This has been for Minnesota. I've never seen nor heard of it being as warm as it is this year. Like, you know, the lakes around the Twin Cities here are melted. I mean, there's maybe a thin sheet of ice left on the lakes right now. Up north, there's hardly any. You can always tell because as you drive further north, you'll see more ice houses out on the lake.
Yeah.
I don't see any ice houses out on the lake whatsoever.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's a big that is a big thing around up here, you know. Ice fishing is a sport up here. So it's been, you know, and of course you can't have, you know, it was, what was it? It was 60 degree in February, you know, and oh yeah, it's like unheard of. You know, in January, there was one day in January we had minus 30.
Wow.
But that was literally overnight. Well, that was not one day. It was overnight, one night, and that was it. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
I complain when it's 50.
You know, minus 30 will take your breath away. It really will.
Yeah.
I was up in Hibbing, and which is really far up north. It's not quite to the border, but it's within, I think, 50 miles of the border. And
that's pretty close.
It was very, very, very cold that night.
I've experienced that cold, but yeah, I've gotten so used to the temperate weather here that like it gets 50 degrees and I'm like, oh my god, it's cold outside.
I put a jacket on.
I have a jacket and a hoodie and a scarf and a hat and my gloves. Like, I'm ready. You know, people
just
think
go
it's 30
up.
degrees out. Like,
see,
let's go.
See, but 50 degrees here is like beach weather.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think out of all the summer days that we have, I think 7/10 of that, you know, are cloudy days. Like, I usually call Indiana, basically Great Britain if it was in America, because it's just we barely get sunny days, and even if we get sunny days, it's like 20 degrees. If it's like cold when it's sunny, but when it's cloudy, it's like beach day. Everybody goes out swimming and all that.
We have people here who'll do that. They'll go out into the Pacific, the Sound here, and go surfing or swimming, and I'm like,
Yeah.
they're Polar Bear Club members, apparently.
Like, weather in Indiana is just...
It's something, all right.
It's
But
not...
Seattle gets compared to, like, England a lot as well,
Yeah.
because we're very gray and rainy, and it's just the convergence zones of the weather coming off the shore, hitting the mountains.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah, I think the only time it feels like summer is, I think last year was one of our pretty warm summers. I think we had a summer a few years ago where it was so hot it actually caused a drought here.
Oh yeah, that was horrible.
Yeah, like, oh my god. My yard outside is still feeling the effects of that drought, and that was like 2012, I think.
So what months does Indiana have like their summer?
May, June, and July.
Yeah, and then as soon as it's like mid-August, it starts getting back to like the 50s and 40s, and then winter weather technically, like temperature-wise, starts around like I think the end of November, if not the middle of November, because Thanksgiving's usually like a warm day for us. Yeah, Thanksgiving's usually like a warm day.
Yeah. It's decently warm, but
Yeah.
like most days, sometimes it's cold years.
Yeah, like it's not like like you can't go outside and go swimming and all that in it, but you have to like bundle up a little bit, like get a jacket on, and it's really about it. Other than that, it's pretty warm.
Okay, I was just curious because here in Seattle, we like don't get summer until like July and August, and when it gets hot here, it can get up into the 90s.
Oh, we've had a few days where we were in the hundreds.
But like it's later in the year, so it's where most people are start thinking fall, like August time, and we're just like hitting our peak of summertime, and ours usually extends all the way into September.
Well, I'm moving to Seattle.
Because people are like, the kids are getting ready to go back to school, and they're like, oh man, it's summer just started, and like, well, yeah, it's different. What about you, Carl?
Well, I guess summer starts generally in about mid-June. What truly feels like summer starts around mid-June.
Yeah.
And then it'll go through, depending on the year, it'll go through, late August, early September. But, I mean, then by like Halloween, there's usually frost on the ground.
Yeah.
So Halloween, I remember growing up in Missouri, Halloween, you'd go out trick-or-treating in whatever, but up here you pretty much have to have at least a jacket, if not a little bit more than a jacket.
Yeah.
And then winter will start. Generally we have snow on the ground around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then that'll be, like I said, that'll be there until beginning of April.
Oh yeah.
When the April-ish is when the thaw usually hits, but normally normally the weather up here is, really pleasant. I don't have a complaint about the weather up here, except for there are times during the, it's all about kind of the peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
So like a few nights in the winter we'll have minus 20, minus 30, and I hate that. But then in the summertime there'll be 1 or 2 days. I remember there was maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, there was a place kind of in the western part of the state that was the most tropical place on the planet Earth, like for like 3 days.
Wow.
Because it was so hot and humid. And so you get those, but then most of the time, like I say, most of the time, it'll get hot, but then the temperature will drop back down again and stuff. So
yeah. The weather here, April is usually one of our
rainy months.
Yeah, rainy months. April. Usually every April we have like a few storms that get like are potentially like flood potentials. Because if we had that drought and then we had like a month like April here after a drought like what we had a few years ago, that drought would just immediately be like forgotten about because we get like so much rain and maybe snow depending on how the weather is during April. There's out of all the 30 days, or is it 30? Either way,
I think it's 29.
Out of all the days in April, about 80% of them are rain days because it pours here, and then we get like nights where it's like nice and dry. And the nights are really good in April because they have like really good temperatures, so they'll dry up the rain like in no time. So basically, it rains, then it dries up, and then the next day it'll possibly rain again, and then it dries up that night. So it's just a
dry spells between rain. That sounds really cool. Here it's just rain.
It's rain and then mist. Sometimes
lighter rain, and then sometimes there's mist, and then I've seen downpours so heavy that like within minutes, like everything is like flooded, like overflowing drains. I mean, within minutes, it's so heavy, and then it lightens up and then maybe we'll have a sun break for an hour, and then it'll start raining again.
That
place.
Yeah, I mean, where I live, there are a lot of trees, and it's kind of, I think the ground is mainly like clay based. But my sidewalk, I've posted pictures before. My sidewalk is very puddle ridden. Wow. And not little puddles, but like great big puddles where you have to walk around through the mud to get around on the sidewalk. Otherwise, it's like 2 inches deep.
Yeah, that it sounds like that storm that we had a few weeks ago with tornadoes. Like it was all calm. It like literally in my house, it was all calm. I turned on the weather and it showed like the storm was hitting in about like a few minutes for us. So I just stayed in my living room watching the weather at like almost midnight because I usually never sleep during the days or during the nights. That's my daytime job, really. So I was just standing in the living room, and it was all calm. Maybe some wind here and there that sounded really, horrible. And out of nowhere, it just like poured. It just, oh my God! It was usually when it rains here, like if there's like a severe storm that hits, it usually goes light, like you get the sprinkles of rain for like 10 minutes, and then it gets a little bit, downpours a little bit, but not like heavy, and then it gets a little bit heavier, and then like a half an hour or an hour into the storm, it just like completely downpours, winds going everywhere. But this one in particular, as soon as the storm hit, it was pouring, wind was going everywhere, hail was hitting everything. It was a crazy storm.
Horrifying.
Yes. So it was a storm that I was not used to, because I'm used to where it's like it lightly pours and then it goes pouring. But this one, it just went straight to heavy downpour.
And that's the weather.
From all parts of the country.
Pretty much. We got Indiana, you got
Well, we got 3 states of the country at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Northeast.
Well, I can tell you the worst weather of all is Grand Forks, North Dakota.
The Dakotas are not the best when it comes to weather.
Oh my gosh. You want to talk about, and it's not that it's cold, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Because that's where I have to go up there every 3 weeks. But the area around Grand Forks, when I say flat, look at your desk. Your desk probably has more variation than the ground. And the wind is just horribly bad. It's like constant wind and stuff. So it's very cold when that wind hits you, and when it hits you, it's not like there's a breeze. It blows on you, and you are cold.
We had a windstorm just a few days ago that was really windy. I had to walk home, and I swear it was so windy. I thought I was actually going to be like blown away or something. It was extremely windy.
It blew down my cable antenna.
Yeah.
Like the satellite, it just blew off my house. It was terrible.
Usually a windy day here is like, if it's windy, there'll be a few leaves blowing around. There'll be some stuff flying everywhere. Maybe a gust of wind that'll take you by surprise and possibly take you off your feet. But no, that windstorm literally could have took me off my feet if I, didn't have heavy legs. And, oh my god! Oh my god!
You put weights around your ankles to keep from being blown away.
Yeah. It was...
Talk about ankle weights.
It was extremely windy, and it was not something Indiana's used to for windy days. I compared it to Chicago if Chicago's winds took steroids.
Yeah, we get windy days occasionally that'll down trees and things. Take out. I've heard stories. I've seen tree limbs fall on cars and smash the tops of cars.
Yeah.
And then I've heard stories like I think last year, or the year before, when it was PAX Prime here, there was a big windstorm, and I think it was a Twitcher who he might have been a YouTuber. I don't remember. He thanked himself for being at PAX because when he got home, he found a tree limb going through the roof of his house into his studio.
Wow.
Right where his chair was. Like, if he had been home recording, it probably would have skewered him in the head.
Wow.
I mean, when a tree goes through a roof, it's pretty powerful. Yeah, and they
ruin your day.
Yeah, and they showed like the pictures, and it's like, yeah, I'd be thankful for being not there too. But yeah, I mean, weather can get crazy anywhere.
Yeah,
that's wow. Yeah. Basically, that's basically all I have for Indiana's weather. There's not much else about it. I mean, spring is nice when it's not, downpouring every few days. Summer is alright if it had a lot more sunny days.
Yeah.
Fall, I think fall is one of the best seasons for Indiana because the way it looks. Yeah, the way it looks here is beautiful and all that. Then winter, I mean, like usually winter for everybody else is like November to the start of March, if not the end of March. But for here, it's the start of January to basically the end of March. So we get a pretty short winter depending on the weather's beliefs. I think that's all.
Okay.
I think that's all we have for weather. It's not like we spent half an hour on it.
No, definitely not.
No.
And guess what? Nothing's going to change about it.
Nothing's gonna change.
It's going to do what it's going to do.
It's gonna.
Yep.
Okay.
I wanted to say, when I was a kid in Alaska, I would go trick or treating in a snowsuit
Yeah.
because there were 2 to 3 feet of snow on the ground. And then I would also, my elementary school was 2 blocks or 2.5 blocks from my house. In the wintertime, I would have to wait in my house until the bus pulled up. The bus driver would honk, you run out, get on the bus, and get taken to school. Because if I walked 2.5 blocks, I would get frostbite.
Yeah.
That explains Indiana almost.
And, that combined with the 3 to 4 hours of daylight during the winter, and then the 11 hours of, 24 hours of daylight during the summer.
Yeah, there'll be times during Indiana's summer where where it's still day at like 10 o'clock.
Yep.
All right, next topic today is...
The next topic is what games are we looking forward to 2017? I don't know about me. I haven't been really much into like looking for new games. I've been just basically focusing on like games that I've been playing recently, like Overwatch and Battlefield, parts of Project Cars and Balloons Tower Defense 5 that came out on the Xbox just a few days ago.
I'm most excited for Mass Effect Andromeda. Looks really amazing.
Not really much else I can really say for gaming on my part, because I played Wildlands, but that already came out. I played the beta for Wildlands, and that was a real good game. The first 2 missions that I played.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything. I know I read the PC Gamers list of games that they're anticipating coming out, and the only one I can remember is one I've seen people do the early beta playthroughs of recently, called Oxygen Not Included.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that looked really cute, and I've seen a couple different YouTubers do playthroughs of it, and I still think it looks interesting, and I would like to see it. But other than that, there were a lot of games out there, and I can't remember. I mean, I know some of them piqued my interest because I'm not big into the first-person shooters and a lot of the RPG type stuff, but sometimes the mysteries or the other ones, survival games, are more my style. And I saw a few. I just can't for the life of me think of any of them off the top of my head besides that one.
So Carl, what are your games you look forward to the most this year?
Well, one that I have been really intrigued with is one called Night in the Woods. And it's kind of it's kind of a platformer one. But it's one where, strange things are happening in the world, and it looks really good. It's a really good looking game. If you can look it up on Steam, that it's just called Night in the Woods.
Is that the one with the raccoon?
Yeah, it's different animals.
Okay. I think
raccoon.
I think I've heard about that, where the raccoon goes back to their hometown, and then yeah, I've heard about that one.
And then the other one that I'd really like to get, but I don't have a VR headset, is Star Trek Bridge Crew, because that looked really cool. And then one that I think I may actually end up getting is called Styx Shards of Darkness, which is a I don't know, it's kind of like a Dragon Age Inquisition type game types, thing.
Dragon might like that one.
What's that?
I think Dragon might like that one because it involves dragons.
Well, no, it's
No.
it's actually I think you're a goblin or something like that.
Is it from the Styx that they've done previously?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I don't think somebody I was watching for a while did a playthrough, and I never actually watched it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might be getting more interested in RPG type games, but at the moment they're not my top. One that is not a big name one that but I got a key for. Now I can't think of the name of it, and hopefully I'll be able to bring up my key quick enough. It is a dragon game though, where instead of playing as a human, you actually play as a dragon. And you go around conquering the bad humans, I guess.
Well, you kind of have to play that then, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, that sounds so perfect. I'm trying to log in to find the name of it. I haven't redeemed the key, so it's not in my Steam account yet. It is called Grim Dragons. I have keys for several games that I've gotten through Keymailer, and that's one that I had requested. But yeah, you go around playing as a dragon, and I don't think you kill all the humans, but some of them, and then you fight against other dragons as well. But it seemed like a nice concept, and the art style looked pretty good. So I'm just going to be spending my time going through those games that I've gotten keys to, which may or may not be as good as intended.
We also have another thing. I didn't read the whole thing when I first introduced the topic, but now that I just read the whole thing, so Ray's Wolf said games we look forward to the most this year. Our favorite hobby and why. The very first video game we've ever played, and do we believe in life outside the Earth's atmosphere? So I guess we're gonna have to answer 3 questions at once. Favorite hobby, first video game, and believing in life outside of Earth's atmosphere. So I'm gonna go ahead and answer my favorite hobby, which is definitely YouTube. Because I just love editing and making videos, so YouTube for now is a hobby. I don't know if I'll make it into a job just yet. Just for now it's a hobby, and I just love doing it because editing is kind of my stuff, and once I get my new computer I'll get more advanced editing. My first video game that I've ever played, I think it was I either played a rendition of Mario Kart, or there was like a Mario baseball game or something like that was on the GameCube or Nintendo 64. It was one of those two, and I played that when I was 2 years old maybe. So that was my first video game, was on a Nintendo system, and it was Mario, so at least I can say that I got into gaming by Mario and from Nintendo. And do I believe in life outside of Earth's atmosphere? I guess. I don't know if I really want to say it's like, aliens and all that, but I'll say like there could be potential life, but I don't really want to get into it because I'm not that kind of a astronomer.
You'd have to be a xenobiologist.
Yeah.
That's a big word. Kind of scares me.
And what about you, Carl?
I
What's
get
your
the award. I get the award for most original use of xenobiologist in a sentence today.
Yay!
You get a gold sticker.
There you go. Okay, my favorite hobby is probably just playing video games. Yeah, I think that's that's what I like to do the most. Very first video game I ever played was Pong.
Good old days.
I have Pong on my laptop.
Yep. Well, I played Pong when it was on the television. And do I believe in life outside of Earth's atmosphere? Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, it's inevitable.
So, Dragon, what about you?
Well, I have to be a copycat, and with everybody else, I think my favorite hobby, the only one I have time for, is YouTube and playing video games. So it's one and the same. I would say like doing art, but I have so little time left to do anything after that. And I like reading. That I can do on the bus on my way to and from work when I have nothing else to do. So reading. My first video game I ever played, I can't remember if I played anything on the Atari first or on the computer first, which was a first-person maze game on a Commodore 64, which I don't remember if it had a name.
Woohoo!
But it was pretty cool. Still haven't found anything quite like it. I guess, I mean, well, anything first person nowadays would be like it. And then we played stuff on the Atari, tanks and air sea combat, and we probably had Pong. And do I believe of life outside the Earth's atmosphere? Absolutely, because there are so many planets in the universe and beyond that to say there is no life of any form out there, even if it's microbial,
Crazy
is
talk.
just is like, I don't know, just stubbornness. There's something out there alive somewhere.
Yep.
Oh, I guess that leaves me then. My favorite hobby is following the Pro Rocket League scene because I'm addicted to this game and I love it. My first game that I ever played was, I think it was Mario Kart, N64, and I had a lot of fun playing with my cousins with that when I went over to my grandma's house because she lived in the middle of nowhere and there was nothing to do, so that really saved my life at times. And then, do I believe in life outside of Earth's atmosphere? I do, because there's just so much that we haven't explored in the universe. So why not?
All right, so that one's done. Let me see if I can get to the next one real quick.
Much quicker than everything else so far.
Yeah, that's honestly the quickest one because yeah, that was the quickest.
Well, we needed to be because we're the weather thing.
Yeah.
You realize it's going to be this gigantic block of us just talking about the weather.
Yeah, basically. It's always like it. It's always we start off with one topic and maybe it goes on for like 10 minutes and then we get one topic that's like 5, one topic that's like 2. Then we get one topic that takes like the whole video.
1 hour later.
Yeah. Another topic is do we think that YouTube subscribers should pay attention to creators' political or social views? I'm gonna let Carl take this one because he made this topic.
So this is from Kotaku, and they report that that JonTron, and I don't follow him. I think I've seen him in a few videos and stuff, but I know he plays. He's a YouTube gamer. whatever.
Yeah.
He had a debate with a streamer about political views, and he expressed some pretty extreme views, such as the idea white people are experiencing a demographic displacement in America, that Mexican immigrants are attempting to break off parts of America into Mexico, and that the United States doesn't need immigrants from incompatible places.
Yeah.
He has 3 million subscribers on YouTube, which makes him a pretty big deal there. And the Kotaku goes on to say that fans of his see his videos as apolitical, that he doesn't have a political, he doesn't express political opinions on his channel.
Yeah.
So a lot of, I guess a lot of people have expressed displeasure with this idea, that especially his views of Mexicans and immigrants, and
Yeah.
and of course the white demographic displacement. So the question is, the question that I put was, do you think that YouTube subscribers should basically pay attention to creators' political or social views? And I also put that on with the I pair that with the news of PewDiePie. What was it, a couple weeks ago, when he made he made a pretty insensitive, I think it was Nazi type
Yeah.
something or
Yeah,
another.
it was death to all the Jews joke.
Yeah.
Right. Now he says it was a joke. That's not his political views, but a lot of people said, "Hey, wait a second, what's the deal here?" So, yeah, that's the question. Should YouTube subscribers pay attention to the creators, the people they subscribe to, their political views, if that's not the focus of their channel?
This is my opinion, but basically with the PewDiePie, the whole deal and all that, that basically told everybody that political views and social views should be taken seriously and all that on YouTube. My thing is, if you have a different political, social view of a different opinion than another person has, then you should be fine to accept it. Making a video on it should be basically the only thing that should be done, and should not have an entire channel or a whole Twitter account dedicated to bashing or bashing people, bashing political views, all that other stuff. If someone has different opinion on it, then it's a different opinion. Get on with your day. Don't turn it into like the next PewDiePie versus Maker Studios drama. Because it's stupid when things so small, such as like someone's political or social views, gets to be like one of the biggest drama, gets to be one of the biggest dramas in drama history. That's just my opinion, though.
Kagan, what do you think?
I don't really have a opinion on the whole matter. I mean, if you're watching a YouTuber and they don't have the same political view as you, then I mean, you should just stop watching them if you don't agree with their political stances.
Okay.
Understandable.
Dragon?
I've been thinking about it. I mean, if their channel, like say it's a gamer, and their channel is not particularly about that political view or social view, but you enjoy their gameplay, I don't think that should make you
Right.
stop watching because you don't agree with their opinion, because everybody's entitled to their opinion.
Right.
I mean, that's like saying, well, gosh, you're gay. I don't want to watch you because you're gay.
But people still
you know,
do that.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I think if you enjoy the person's, content before you knew their social, political, or sexual preference, then you should still support that channel because you like the content,
Right.
regardless of what the creator's political, social view is or sexual orientation. But if it starts becoming, if they start bringing that up more often, and it becomes more of a focal point of things, then I think maybe if you're not, agreeing with that, and that becomes then maybe that's the time when you can say, okay, you're bringing it up way too much. I don't want to listen. And then maybe you can, your choice,
Yeah.
say, I've had enough. I don't want to listen anymore, and find somebody else.
So, for all of you, who should? So I'm getting the undercurrent of no, it really shouldn't matter, right?
Right.
But let's think about it this way. What if you had a YouTuber expressing an opinion that you didn't like? So let's say that JonTron, and I'm going to guess that probably most people wouldn't agree that they might not subscribe to the idea that whites are being displaced by people of other races in America. So what if somebody had that view,
Uh-huh.
and then turned around and used the money that they made from YouTube to promote that idea?
Then that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Even if they never say it on their channel. Let's say they go to white supremacists rallies, or they make big donations to white supremacy groups. But yet on their channel, they focus almost totally on video games. They don't do anything else unless they do a goofy skit or something like that.
As long as it's just my opinion, but as long as it just does not go on YouTube, then I'm fine. It makes them look retarded because, it's not going to change anything, but it's going to stay. If it's out of YouTube and, it's not going to involve your YouTube channel that I'm watching, then I'll continue watching your content and I'll be fine with, everything really. But if they go on their channel and they say like, oh, I'm a white supremacist, I hate whites, or I hate Mexicans, hate Jews, etc., then that's when I'll be like, if this becomes how your channel if this is how your channel is going to go from now on, I don't even think I want to consider watching your channel. And plenty of people will unsubscribe, kind of like what my channel's been going on these past few days, months, whatever. Not going to talk about that. But
what I'm saying is, what if so if you subscribe to somebody like JonTron, that you're and you watch his videos, just his gaming videos, you're contributing to his monetary, you're giving him money basically by watching ads and stuff like that, right? He's getting money from you watching ads, right?
Yeah.
And then you understand that he probably doesn't have another job, another source of income. He's not separating that that his YouTube income out from anything else that he might do, but he's turning around and he's going to. And let me be clear: I'm not saying that he's doing that JonTron's doing this,
Right.
but let's say that he turned around and went to white nationalist or white supremacist rallies and donated big sums of money to white supremacists groups. Would you be okay with that? Would you still go, no, you know what? It's still, he's only doing gaming on his channel, so I don't care what he does in his personal life.
But the only way you would know what he's doing in his personal life is if it became part of his public persona, like
Right.
it was posted somewhere, and at that point it's not his private life anymore, it becomes his public life. And I've been thinking about, okay, if I was watching somebody and I, don't know anything about their political beliefs, but then if I suddenly see something that becomes a public thing saying, oh yeah, they support the white supremacists or the Nazis, or
Right.
I would actually have to say I wouldn't continue to support them. Because it's become public knowledge that they are supporting this. But if they if it's still their private business and they don't let it out anywhere publicly, then it's their private business, and I wouldn't care either way. But once it becomes public business, then it's part of their persona, and, as a political stance, I would not support somebody I know who openly supported something that I'm against.
Basically what Dragon just said. If we know that they're going to these rallies and whatnot, it's not their private life, it's their public life. So in turn would make me stop watching JonTron or whoever I'm watching that went to the rallies. So
So my question is, should YouTubers be expressing their political views unless they want people to pay attention to them?
I wouldn't, but
Well, but is that an okay thing? I mean, if you feel really strongly about something, shouldn't you express your views?
Yes.
yeah.
But then, if people disagree with that, then I guess it's their choice.
It becomes World War III.
It's their it's each person's own prerogative and free country, their own free will, whether they want to support a person or not. But if the YouTuber makes their political or social views, if they're a gamer and suddenly they start, or mention political or social views, then that's what their channel has become about, and it's each viewer's option whether they want to support that person or not based on that.
Right.
But otherwise, if they don't want people to pay attention to their political views, then they shouldn't bring them up.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that myself, because if you follow me on Twitter, I have some fairly strong political views, and I'm not shy about them either. I'm pretty I'm pretty open about how I feel.
We're all like that on Twitter. Trust me.
Yeah.
Especially if you go on my Twitter.
I don't do a lot of political tweeting, but if I see something that I want to support, I don't feel embarrassed to support it. And if people disagree with me and don't want to, pay attention to my channel because of that, that's their prerogative. I'm a fairly open-minded, liberal person. I think that's the right thing. Liberal. I can never remember. I'm a free thinker. I support green parties. I support equal rights for everybody: men, women, transgender, bisexual, trisexual, non-sexual.
Non-sexual.
But if people's political opinions I don't agree with, most of the time I will probably hold my tongue. because they're welcome to their opinion, and if it doesn't agree with mine, I don't have to argue it.
Basically, for me, I rarely talk about my political views. I'm very public about my social views, just not my political views, because I know if I say one thing about Donald Trump, even if it's good or bad, if I say something bad, the good side's going to come on my back and, you know, beat the hell out of me. Or if I say something good about Trump, the bad side of the people who hate Trump will come and beat the hell out of me. So,
But you're gonna have that with any argument. So
yeah, but
Well, especially when you're talking about a specific politician,
yeah,
that's where you're going to get the haters or the lovers. Whereas if you're talking about political views, that's a little more open.
yeah,
I'm either way. I'm not a fan of Trump, but I'm not a supporter, or I'm not a hater.
yeah.
I'm confused.
I am a hater of Donald Trump.
Well, I mean, I think the things he's doing so far seem pretty stupid, like with the borders and the walls and things, and you know, words are failing me. But the things
Yeah.
that, like, the little bit I've heard about, like the healthcare things, I'm like, well, maybe he's on the good side. I don't know enough, and I
Um,
think it's a whole ball of yarn about what's going on with him and what's not happening, and what's real and what isn't real. So I just abstain from it.
I don't hate Donald Trump, but I also don't love Donald Trump. More of that, it's just another politician. He'll barely do anything to this country to change anything because change doesn't come from presidents; it comes from within, as people usually say it. And I can kind of say that I'm part of that belief. A president could plant the seed to a change, but a president can't just be like, "Oh, I'm gonna change the whole entire face of the United States. Stuff is gonna be built, blah blah blah." Donald Trump quotes, and it gets done, and everything changes. Change comes from within because if Donald Trump just did this on all his own, it wouldn't change anything. That's why I say it comes from within, because the people also have to, help out and all that. If the people don't like it, they can change it. If the people do like it, they can change it. But protest, it's been about close to being 2 months since Donald Trump's been sworn into office. I think a little more than that almost. And people are still going out and protesting Trump, thinking we can get him impeached. But I'm gonna say this right now, but coming from a guy, or especially Dagan and I, coming from Indiana, Mike Pence won't do anything for president.
absolutely nothing.
He won't. He's worse than Trump. So, we
Well, sorry. Oh gosh, there we go.
Are you dying, sir?
I think I am. And that's the problem, is that you say, well, Mike Pence is worse than Trump because you've experienced Mike Pence's politics. Now you can agree or disagree with his politics.
yeah.
We can't really seem to get to the real actual politics of Trump because he's doing so much other BS and stuff. And it's like, what kind of a president acts like he does? I mean, what kind of a president acts like he does? And I know that everybody is like, well, we needed him to be different. It's like, we don't need him to be acting like this. This is not the difference. This doesn't make us better.
Yeah.
But in any event, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
So, but I think the basic question is, if I think it is a personal choice of who you follow.
Yeah.
Just like it's a personal choice of who your friends are. You generally gravitate towards people who think like you, and away from people who don't think like you.
Yeah, like if I watch a YouTube like gamer who's suddenly like started saying things like, calling non-player characters by racial slurs, I might be offended and not care to watch them anymore.
Right.
Mhm.
Because that's them, like, I mean, unless they're doing it as a joke, but still it might, depending on how it's going, it might not come across very well. So yeah, I think it's everybody's personal choice as to how much they want to associate the person's channel with the person and so forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's up to the YouTubers to figure out how much they want their personal social, political views to come through on their channel. And then to be prepared for the repercussions of if they choose to put those views out there.
Well, I think they have to understand that they are a brand.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't generally, YouTubers, I don't even know that PewDiePie, as big as he is, has a PR department. But generally I don't think they have a PR department. They are their PR department, and they're going to either do things that improve their PR, or they're going to make PR blunders,
Yeah.
So, and that's the good thing about politicians, is that they know how to, they can have these political views. The good ones can have these political views,
Right.
and still people like them.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't like your politics, but I like you. You're a good guy.
Right. So is that all we got for this topic?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So our final topic that we kind of have to get to a little quickly here. One game that's like one old game that we would like to see remastered. Just return to the newer gen consoles, the Xbox One, the PS4, maybe PC. Just like remastered. It could be Pong. It could be anything.
It can be Pong. I can have Pong remastered.
VR Pong.
Oh yeah, we need to get working on this.
No, they'd put microtransactions into it. I can't.
Change the color of the ball for 5 cents.
Exactly.
That'd be $5.
$5. $500.
That'd be for the season pass.
Season pass.
Well, speaking of which, I gave this a lot of thought. A lot of my games that I played and really liked have continued to evolve. So there's not. I mean, they're in effect getting remastered all the time. So like, like I was looking at, Doom.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah, I'd like to have Doom again. Well, it's been remastered and it's brand new. It just came out last year with a new one. SimCity still coming out with new versions. Civilization 6 is on the horizon right now, so it's coming out. But I was thinking I'd like to have Zork, which is not too far away from Pong, but the Legend of Zork, I'd like to see that actually be a good, up-to-date game, but yet with all the same things that made it.
For me, I'm trying to think of whether I want to have some of my old PlayStation 2 games be remastered, or have a few Xbox games that I used to play become remastered, because I remember playing a lot of racing games during my childhood. I remember doing a lot of. I think I did a good amount of wrestling games and Mario games in my time. If I were had to remaster a game from my childhood, it would either be WrestleMania 19 for the GameCube, or probably that Mario baseball game that was on the Nintendo 64. That was a really fun game. but because I really don't have any other games that would be, remastered. Call of Duty games, those games are gonna start getting remastered soon. I think so.
Well, they
And
continually get updated anyway. So
yeah, that's really all I have to say for that. Dagan, do you have any games?
Like Taylor, I used to play a lot of WWE games. So one game that I'd like to see remastered is WWE 12. It's one of the first ones I ever played, and it's how I met one of my best friends by playing it. And I'd like to see it remastered because obviously it's quite an old game, and there's a lot of bugs and glitches. But I'd like to see it remastered because I had a lot of fun playing it, and if there was a remaster, I think I'd buy it instantly.
So Dragon, do you have any games?
I don't think so, because I skipped a lot of generations of games. So I was in the early games in the Atari, and none of them I can really remember that really jumped out at me from back then, except like my first one with the maze game. But that's something that's easily recreatable in many off games because it's basically just a first-person walkthrough of a maze that every time you solve it, a new maze is generated. And then when I got back into gaming again, it was my first game was Myst, and I think Myst is fine. And all my other recent games, I don't think there's anything I can really think of that could really use an overhaul. I missed too many games.
Me too.
I'll go back and be one of the retro players someday.
Yeah.
Competitive Smash.
So is that everything we got?
that's it.
Yeah.
So this has been the March edition of the Fall Damage Podcast.
If viewers want anything they'd like to hear us talk about, they can leave the suggestions in the comments below.
Yeah, that's right. I think,
Hello.
is it Barry the one in charge of the SoundCloud for this?
Yes.
All right, so I'll get the MP3 to him so he can put it on the SoundCloud. This will be up on my YouTube channel probably tomorrow if I can get it up. Just basically subscribe to everybody who's involved in this podcast, which everybody here has a YouTube channel, so I can link everybody's YouTube to it.
We should put all the Fall Damage people's YouTube in the comments anyway. So
Yeah. Well, the ones that do YouTube.
yeah.
So that's basically
Woohoo!
that's basically
In the can.
that's all we got.
Another one bites dust.
Dust is disgusting. Like, it tastes disgusting anyway.
I wouldn't know. I know what ashtrays taste like. They're gross.
Oh god.
So tune in next month for another edition of the Fall Damage Podcast. This has been
Same Fall Damage time. Same Fall Damage channel.
This has been the
Sorry,
Fall.
I had to put it in.
This has been the Fall Damage Group, and we'll be signing out. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna die.